Hi everyone, welcome back to Falcon's House. This is the Lost Watch vlog. Please like and subscribe. I am covering Season 2, Episodes 4 through 6 today. Hurley is given the job of inventorying all the food that is stored in the bunker. He is also told not to let anybody have anything, as they don't want to create a free-for-all. Charlie asks Hurley if there is any peanut butter for Claire, but Hurley doesn't answer him. Charlie is a nice guy, the kind of guy who today whines on social media about not getting girls, and thinks that being nice to them, they will eventually date him. He is clearly into Claire and thinks that sucking up to her and helping with the baby, she'll eventually want to be with him. If he puts in enough nice guy tokens, she will vend sex. This is a lot like people on like the Reddit subreddit are nice guys, and so I think I get a lot of that vibe from him. He just wants to go after this pregnant girl so that he can feel like he's helping her out and that she'll owe him something. I feel like he's a lot more selfish than he tries to make himself out to be. He makes it seem like, oh, he's helping her. But that really isn't the case. So I really don't like Charlie because of that feeling I get from his creepiness. Hurley gets Rose to help him out with the inventory, saying that there's a washing machine in the bunker and that it'll help them, it'll make the process a lot faster for her. That night, Hurley has a dream where Jin tells him everything is going to change. And he says it in English, not in Korean, so that's how we know it's a dream. While he is taking inventory, Kate comes and takes some shampoo. Hurley doesn't turn her away, and then Hurley tries to quit being in charge of the inventory, but Locke doesn't let him. He then goes and gets the dynamite that he hid from when they blew up in the hatch, and tries to blow up the food. But Rose stops him and says that he is worried that everyone will hate him for not giving them what they want, just like when he won the lottery. In the flashback, Hurley doesn't tell anyone that he won the lottery. He just says that he fell down to his mother when he was really surprised and fainted. After, he goes to work, and he gets in trouble for eating 8 pieces of chicken out of the back room and not paying for it. He then gets mad and quits his job. His friend also quits in solidarity, not knowing that Hurley quit because he is rich now. They go to a record store where Hurley asks his crush out, and she says yes, and he wants to do this before everybody finds out that he's rich, so that she won't just do it because he has money, and she does it because she actually likes him. They then go to the gas station where Hurley bought the ticket, and there's a news crew there. The store employee recognizes Hurley as the winning ticket and points him out. I don't think this is very realistic. They wouldn't know which person bought the ticket. He wasn't probably the only person to buy a lottery ticket in that store that day, so that would, like, them knowing exactly what numbers he picked and that was the winning number would be very unrealistic. And Hurley's friend has a look of disappointment and betrayal because he wasn't told. And I think this is where Hurley means by everybody hates him now. Everybody's kind of jealous or wants things from him. Michael and Jin are taken out of the pit and talk to the other survivors, and they all agree that both groups are actually from the flight. They then let Sawyer out of the pit because it is getting close to night and they don't want to be in the jungle. They move to what appears to be another Dharma facility, but one that is burned out with not much there. There are only a few survivors left, but they find out that there were originally 23 survivors. There's the number 23 again, one of the evil curse numbers. The bottle of messages that they took on the raft washes ashore. Claire and Shannon find it and give it to Sun, and they decide that they should bury it and not tell anyone else what happened because they don't want to cause a panic. They do seem worried that the raft got destroyed and that something's wrong. Jack and Saeed find a concrete barrier that is to another section of the bunker, and he shows that his key around his neck gets pulled towards it, so there's some sort of magnetism going on. They try to see if they can get below the bunker, but what they find is that the level below also has been filled in with concrete, and Saeed says this was done in Chernobyl, so whatever the incident was, it obviously caused some big issues. Hurley decides that there isn't an equitable way to save the food, and that there was enough food for 3 months for one person, but not enough food for 40 people at once. And Jack agrees, and they have a feast where they just hand out the food randomly, or maybe with some purpose for what people want, but they just hand it all out. I think this is somewhat short-sighted. We don't know what the future will hold, and maybe the food will be useful for survival later on. Hurley ends up giving the peanut butter to Charlie, and Charlie and him make up because now he got what he wanted. Sun has lost her wedding ring and starts to panic about it. Jack offers to help her, but she tells him no. She then starts destroying her garden in frustration, and Locke shows up and tells him that she has never seen him angry. He says that he used to be angry all the time, but then he stopped being lost, and that's how he resolved it, and that she just needs to stop looking, and then she'll eventually find it. Kate tries to make Sun feel better, and she tells Kate about the bottle. They then dig it up, and Kate starts going messages looking for Sawyer's. He didn't write one, but she doesn't know this, and Sun kind of protests that she shouldn't be going through people's personal messages, but Kate doesn't seem to care. Kate then notices the ring in the sand and tells Sun to look into the hole. So now Sun has her ring back. And I thought it was pretty obvious that this is from the start where this was going to be where the ring was going to be. Like, we saw her digging the hole, and then she didn't have a ring, so clearly that's where it was going to be. In the flashback, Sun is being set up by a matchmaker by her mom via her dad. She then goes on a setup date with this guy named Jay, whose family owns high-end hotels. Jin applies for a job as a doorman at the hotel, and gets the job despite being made fun of by the manager for being poor and seeing that his tag was on the jacket that he was wearing. He tells him to open the door for anyone who doesn't look like himself, like anybody else who's poor or dirty or whatever, that it's too high in a hotel to let those kind of people in. Jay tells Sun that he has plans on marrying an American woman, and that is just seeing Sun because his parents want him to. She is sad about this and leaves. Jin lets a small child use the restroom after he approaches him and initially turns him down, but then he decides to ask the child if he can hold it, and of course the child says no, so he lets him inside. His manager sees this and gets angry with him, and Jin quits. He thanks him for the opportunity and leaves. Earlier that day, Jin's roommate told him that his horoscope said that he would meet the woman of his dreams wearing a orange dress. After Jin quits, he's walking along the waterfront and sees the woman in an orange dress and turns around to kind of watch her, then shakes his head and turns back and bumps right into Sun, and that's how they meet. I have some feeling that Jay is going to end up on the island, or there's going to be some sort of future connection between them. This isn't the last time we've seen him. The captured survivors and the tail section people decide that they're going to go around the outside of the island along the beach to reach the area where Jin, Michael, and Sawyer are from. After an argument about cutting inland because Sawyer is struggling and they want to get back faster, Michael storms off to look for Walt. Jin and Echo follow Michael, and the rest of them continue through the jungle towards the other survivors. Michael is being impulsive again. Not surprising for him, but how can he be so stupid? Like, he has no weapon, he has no thing. Is he just going to run into them and, like, beat them up and take Walt back? He doesn't have any sort of, like, thought process. He just acts really impulsively. And it kind of frustrates me because he seems to be a smart guy. He has skills. He's useful to the island. But he just makes decisions that are super emotional and don't have a good follow-through. As Jin and Echo follow his trail, Jin gets attacked by a boar and falls down a hill, and he sees a body with a stake through its chest. Echo says that his name was Goodwin, and Jin asks, others? So it seems like Jin is starting to understand some English and being able to communicate better with other people on the island. They continue to follow Michael, and then hide when they hear someone coming. It turns out to be a bunch of the others. Maybe 8 or 9 people, all barefoot, and one carrying a teddy bear on a string. Later, Jin sees Michael at the stream and follows him. Eventually, Echo also catches up, and they are able to get Michael to not chase the others, saying they only be found if they want to be found. Echo, Michael, and Jin meet back up with the other people from the tail section, and they continue on. Sawyer falls down and is having issues with an infection from his bullet wound. He tells Michael to abandon him, as that is what he would do if the situations were reversed. Which wasn't actually the case, because when they were on the water on the raft, Sawyer went ahead and saved saved Michael, even though he didn't have to. So him being this, oh, I'm not going to help you kind of personality really isn't how he is deep down. Michael doesn't listen, and they build a stretcher so they can carry Sawyer back. Eventually, they reach a hill that is hard to climb with Sawyer. I think they should have just continued to follow the stream around instead of trying to climb the hill, but whatever. So they struggle to climb up this hill, and after climbing, they hear some whispering and realize that someone is now missing. It was the person who was the flight attendant. Like, she was there, and then she wasn't there, and there's no sign of her. In the next episode, it starts off with a flashback, with Shannon as a ballet teacher, and one of the other students is getting hit on by a creepy older dude. Shannon gets a call that her father has been in a car accident, and it turns out that it was the one that was hit by Jack's future wife. After he dies, they have a funeral, and Boone shows up to comfort her. Shannon gets a dance internship in New York City that she didn't expect to get, but then immediately finds out that her rent check bounced, and she goes to confront her stepmom about it and finds out that there is no will, and she gets nothing from her father's death, and now she can't afford to survive because he was paying for everything. She tries to convince her stepmom that this dance thing is important to her and she'll work really hard, but her stepmom is really mean to her and really doesn't like her, and probably just sees her as baggage for being married to her dad, and so she gives her nothing. Boone shows up and tries to convince his mom to help Shannon out, but is unsuccessful. He then offers Shannon some of his own money to help her get started, but she turns it down, saying that nobody believes in her and that she can do this without any help, and she just wants to stay with him while he's in New York City for a little while until she gets on her feet. He says that his mother offered him a job and then he'll be taking it, and that he won't be living in New York City anymore. So I don't see why he couldn't just keep his apartment there and let her live there, but oh well. Saeed and Shannon have sex for the first time, and then he goes to get water, and Shannon sees Walt dripping wet again in the tent. Saeed doesn't believe Shannon and just says it was a bad dream. This is the second time that she has seen Walt like this. The survivors know weird stuff has been happening on the island. I don't know why they dismiss things like this so easily. She wants to find Walt, and so she goes to his stuff on the beach and gets Vincent to sniff it. He then leads her to Boone's grave, and Saeed catches up with her. She tells him that he doesn't believe in her, and that he is just going to abandon her. They then run off into the jungle following Vincent again, and fall down when it starts to rain, and Saeed tells her that he loves her, and that he won't abandon her. They then see Walt dripping wet again, and he motions for them to be quiet. She then starts screaming Walt and runs after him. Why can't anybody in the show not do what they should do and be quiet? Like, he said to be quiet. Like, you might as well, there's other people on this island that are dangerous. You might not go run around screaming and being loud and making a bunch of ruckus. There is then a gunshot, and Shannon falls down in Saeed's arms after having a bullet wound. Ana Lucia is the one with the gun. That is it for this set of episodes. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and share it with anybody else who loves Lost. Thanks.